Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Lessons in Deep Magic with, of course, our carefully selected people, Chaos Chorus, and one more today. One more guest star, superstar, and I think we're all quite excited to see what she's going to bring to the table because let's just say there's already a little bit of method acting going on behind the scenes, and it's going to be fun and kind of terrifying because I have never seen our dear Anna this way, and I'm so looking forward to it. I'm Lydia, I'm your GM today, and we are starting with a little round of introduction for our Lessons in Deep Magic Kobold Press 5 e-campaign with our guest star, with Nymeria 941 just below me, and then we'll move over Lorenzo over to Bastion this way. So, Lola, there you go.
Hello everybody, I'm Anna, also at Nymeria 941 on Twitter and all of the fun social media places, and I'm super excited to be here for Lessons in Deep Magic. Mostly I stream with these folks over on Encounter Roleplay, and I'm just really excited to be here today.
Hello, I'm Noir. You can find me everywhere as the Noir Enigma or just Noir Enigma. I am extraordinarily excited to play with Anna. I've been trying to play in a game with you for a minute, so this is awesome. I'm playing Lorenzo, the paladin Dampier. Should be a good time.
Alright, hey everybody, I am Draku, also Draku3690 over here on Twitch. I am playing Pickled Fish, the Chaos Wizard, and I'm also super excited to play with Anna, so I really can't wait to see how this session goes.
That's me. Hi everybody, I'm Savvy at Savvy Seaworth on Twitter, and at Game Nights with 2 G's and a K on Twitch. Today I'm playing Phoebe, the Cleric of the Moon, devoted worshiper. And I'm just also very excited to play with Anna today, so...
Hello, friends. Hello to the lovely people who voted for me to get a Chaos crit today. Thank you so very much. And if you didn't vote for me, you're dead to me. My name is Colin. I'm gonna at Colin Amicon on Twitter and everywhere else, and I'm gonna be playing Bastion Kamara, our bard boy of the group, who's had a rough few days, and I'm sure it's only gonna get better.
Yes, better. Better is the word that we should use for what's going to happen today. I'm sure there's none of our usual emotional traumas waiting around the corner for our bestest bard boy. I'm sure everything's going to be fine, but yeah, he'll definitely need that auto crit, which you can see as our little holding heart from the Encounter Roleplay server in Bastion's Corner. Every week we have a special little poll over there if you wanted to join, perhaps to discuss the show after, or to join any casting goings on, then posting a quick little link in chat, and you can also vote for who gets the crit next episode. We are going to dive right into our 5th episode of Lessons in Deep Magic after our party has found themselves slightly spirited away into the Shadow Realm. They're staying in Zobek in the Arcane Collegium originally, but things, suffice it to say, things happened, and suddenly they came into the deep roads of the Shadow Realm into Coromel, the City of Lanterns. Very exciting experience for some, a harrowing experience for others, and at this point we've witnessed vows kept and broken, friendships forged and tested, and yeah, overall it's been a pretty wild ride, which, you know, it would take quite a while to do justice with a simple summary. So what you need to know is that they find themselves at the moment split in the City of Lanterns. We've had Phoebe and Lorenzo taking care of a little errand, coming out a little bit worse for wear, And we've had Pickled Fish and Bastian having a lot of fun in the Moody Marlin, renting the honeymoon suite and lying through their teeth to get all the extras. You're bad, bad people. But we'll figure out today if they find a way back into their own plane of existence. As we check in with Phoebe and Lorenzo, who have finished their task for Mareshka, have checked in with Mareshka, have been given the all clear, but also a little bit of information that there is a chance to get out of Cormel with her help. She needs a mirror transported. She didn't say too much about where and how and why, but somewhere further north than Zobek, but in Midgard. And if they wanted to, they could basically use her pass through the Shadow Roads to transport that mirror for her, and then stay behind in Midgard and find their own way back home to Zobek. You are leaving Mareshka's room. You have figured out roughly where where Pickled Fish and Bastian are staying, the Moody Marlin, but you have no idea where that is. And you're wandering through the streets.
I'm starting to think we should ask somebody where to go.
I don't want to give up any more candles. I only have 3 left.
Okay. I mean, I could ask a person. Maybe they just tell us. We don't have to ask the little dragons every time. We just keep doing it.
I mean, it's been effective so far, but they're wiping me out of all my ritual candles.
Okay, well,
yes.
then let's find somebody who looks nice.
I'll leave you to be the judge of that.
You see a couple of people in the area, in the vicinity, and there's certainly some of the tourists that you've been seeing all over the city who would not necessarily know their way around. They are marveling at the flying dragons and dragonettes, the little messengers. They are watching the lanterns being lit by the Lantern Lighters Guild. They're standing near the River Lethe, watching the inky black, shadowy water flowing through the city. But you also see a couple of shadow fae. You see a couple of humanoids of all varieties, from elves to dwarves to humans to gnomes and kobolds. You see one very proper-looking shadow fae woman in particular that catches your eye, mostly because it's not her catching your eye. It's a large dog by her side, a mastiff, huge, but very well behaved, and every time that mastiff breathes, every time it moves, there's a little trail of shadow following it. It's quite fascinating.
We should ask. Dogs are an excellent judge of character.
I wouldn't perceive that to be a normal dog, but you do have a point. Should we approach?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Yes, hello? Can I help you?
Hi. Yeah, we're looking for the Moody Marlin. Do you know where it is?
She kind of just takes one look at the two of them, eyes swivel to Lorenzo, and then back. You're not from around here, I'm guessing. Yes, I know where it is. Oh, you mean you'd like directions? Oh, wonderful, yes. We'll be happy to help you get there, Shim and I. Just follow us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm assuming I know
so
where
easy.
the Moody Marlin is, and we're not just taking them on a fun adventure goose chase.
No, Katrijn, you have been in Cornwall many times before. Your family is very much connected, very much respected within the Shadow Realm, and the City of Lanterns is one of those places that is a little bit more worldly, a little bit more friendly towards those not of the Shadow Realm. how do you perceive the City of Lantern thusly? Because, well, you know, outsiders.
I feel it's really the sort of thing that is an unfortunate necessity. I don't really like to go there if I can help it, but I'll do it if I have to. And they seem nice.
What are you chatting
Lorenzo's-
about?
I was just gonna say Lorenzo's just straight up staring at the dog.
Do you want to say hello? Go on, he won't bite you. This is
Just
Shin.
pet him. Hello,
And
Shin.
he's a little bit the fur feels a little insubstantial, a little smoky, stuff like that. He's a dog that's made out of shadows. It's very cool. He likes you, I
That's
think.
very- That's
He usually
nice.
tends to be a little more friendly towards people of the umbral persuasion. And she just smiles.
You do
Uh,
actually
how-
notice that there is a little bit of blood, that there are signs of a fight still on them. It's noticeable, but faint, because of course you would have been in a place full of mirrors to clean yourselves up a little bit, and still they look like they've had a rough night.
Did you say this was your first time in the city?
I don't believe that we did. No, yes, it's our 1st time in the city.
Well, it seems you've done several weeks worth of tourist activities here. We usually comport ourselves a little bit more subtly, if you will. But I wouldn't expect that if you're staying at the City of Lanterns, you would know that. But really, you must allow me to show you around and enjoy some of the more secret, wonderful places that this city has to offer at some point. The Moody Marlin is fine for a few nights. It's like you want to get away for a weekend, but if you really want to know the truth about this place, you need someone that knows it like the back of their hand.
I think I may have had my fill of this place, but are we not subtle?
I'm sort of covered in blood.
Yeah.
Well, and dear, don't take this the wrong way, but it is a little bit unusual to see somebody not of my kind wearing those robes of yours, Sarastre and all that. It's kind of our thing. So, I wouldn't expect that you knew that, but it does stick out a bit.
Yeah, no, you're not the first person to tell me that today.
Promise I will be the first person to tell you that without sticking a knife in you, because from the looks of that, it did not end well.
Phoebe, are you sure you don't want to wear my cloak? I got a red cloak specifically for this purpose.
You know, that's
Smart
not
man.
a bad idea.
So he just undoes it and hands it off.
Thanks.
The dog is... What is the dog like? Is he very much at heel? Is he very much following your every command, or is he a little bit puppy-esque?
The dog is mostly very at heel. Like, he wants to follow me around, kind of has the nose sort of in the cup of the hand, like we're holding each other a little bit as we're walking. But every so often, something will catch his attention. He'll always, like, I'll just sort of snap a little, and he comes back. But I think he's trying to like look over at Lorenzo and kind of just like be like, "Oh, a new person, please love me."
Yeah.
Just a little bit, and I'm just like, no.
So the dog is wandering around. Since you are preoccupied with chatting with them, that's usually his sign that he is allowed to check out the area. Not just allowed, actually, supposed to check out the area for threats, for people that he might have to warn you about. So he's ambling a little bit, and he stops next to Phoebe, starts sniffing at an instrument that is slung around her shoulder. You only see the neck of possibly a lute, guitar of some sort, but the dog pays attention.
Phoebe, your name was? Do you play?
Me? Oh, no.
Phoebe.
I'm just holding it for somebody.
Really? Where did you get that?
It belongs to a friend.
Interesting.
You are
And you also
heading
know
Go for it.
this friend. Well, it's just that it looks awfully familiar, and if it's what I think it is, I'm honestly kind of surprised. He's let it out of his sight. Or reach.
Well, I mean, that's why we're going to the Moody Marlin, so we can find them. That would be cool, like a reunion with somebody you know.
You're heading through the
yeah.
streets of Coromel. Unless you want to ask any specific questions before we reunite the party.
I have one question. I truly hate to ask. I don't recall getting your name. I'm sorry. It's been a long night.
Oh, how silly of me. Katrijn, very nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, Katrijn. I'm Lorenzo.
Yes, I know.
Of course, sorry. This is going to seem a strange question. But you're not anyone's mother, are you?
God, I hope not. I think I would remember
Wonderful.
if I was.
Wonderful. Okay. He just keeps walking.
She turns
All
to
right.
Phoebe. Is he always like this?
Actually, a lot of the time.
We're heading to the Moody Marlin, walking through the streets of Coromel. And it is a place that is quaint in the best and worst sense of the word. It's near the riverbank. It's in the craftsmanship, artsy-fartsy part of the older town of Coromel. It is cobbled stones and little crow-stepped gables and lots of flower pots and just sweet. It is not a place Katrijn would probably frequent. It doesn't exactly serve much of a purpose other than looking pretty, which is good enough for some, but probably not good enough for you. And as you walk up, there is peace and quiet mostly. It's late at night, after all. And knocking on the door, the receptionist welcomes you. You are taken upstairs when you say the name of your other party members. And Lorenzo, you're being taken to the honeymoon suite. Nice little sign on the door, lots of little hearts. Receptionist is gone at this point. It's just showing you the way upstairs. But there's you, Katrijn, and Phoebe, and the honeymoon suite.
Oh, I did not expect for that of this choice in, but anyway,
Well,
we should. Sorry, go ahead.
Just dreadfully tacky, but frankly, that's what I'd expect at this rate.
Expect
You're
from
from out of
this
town, though. I
place?
won't hold it against you. No, just
They're my friends. They're good people.
Really.
Yes.
Well, then I'm
really.
very interested to meet them.
Right. And he knocks on the door. Well, he hesitates for a minute. Like there's like a. Then he just boom boom.
Pickle and Bastion, you hear a knocking on your door.
Bastion like stands up and like wipes pastry crumbs off of his face. Like Bastion fell asleep on the floor with like half a Danish on his chest, and just like swoops that off. Pickle, can you get the door please closer? I can't hear you, Pickle.
Was that banging on the door or banging in my head?
I think it was the door, Pickle. Could you?
Okay.
Oh, I don't feel well. I need the restroom. Could you please get that?
Yes. I've
Bastion
got it.
shuffles off toward the bathroom.
And Pickle, like, drags herself up. She was laying in the middle of the bed, just spread eagle, just snoring, snoozing. And she, like, crawls and rolls off the bed and just clambers over to the door.
Yes, yes.
And, like, pushes it open.
The second that she
Hey, Pickle. He just gives her a big ol' hug. Like it is. Lorenzo has given big ol' hugs to Pickle before, but this is like a I need this kind of hug. You smell of drink.
Yep. There was some pastries too, though. There might be some left. Come in. There's plenty of space.
She, like, beckons. Has not noticed anyone else yet.
I should introduce Katrijn. This is very good friend, Picklefish, Katrijn.
She, like, wipes her
Pleasure
eyes.
to make your acquaintance, pickled fish.
Hi.
And
I
you
don't
hear
think I've ever
like,
met anybody quite so
Go.
short before.
Yep. This is about
With
as
such
tall as I
large-
get.
Ears. That's really what I would not have expected him to go for. But you are staying in a honeymoon suite. So tell me, want to give
Yes,
us the tour of the room?
Oh, sure. Yes.
And just completely, anything you're implying, just completely over her head. She is too hungover for this. Just
Yes,
She's
please,
also
please
very
come
short.
in. We have pastries.
Exactly. And yeah, she'll probably still be grabbing at Lorenzo, like his tunic or something, just pulling them into the room. And
He's just letting himself be dragged along.
And she just excitedly is like,
Here is the bed, and there are silk sheets, and it is very soft. Please rub your face on this bed. And there were some pastries.
and she like motions to a mostly empty plate, but maybe they saved a few. I doubt it. And
Maybe they
yeah,
couldn't
she goes
finish
just
them all.
around the room, pointing excitingly.
And the one closed door is the restroom, from the other side of which you can hear just retching, like dry heaving from... I'm not going to do it because it's gross, but from the other side of the door, you can hear the sounds of Bastion having a bad hangover morning, kind of.
You have to forgive our friend. He had a rough night.
Oh, really? That's too bad. Maybe we should go in and make sure he's all right. It doesn't sound good in there.
I've known Bastion for a little. He usually gets this way during finals. He'll be fine. Just needs to air it out.
Doesn't
You'll
he
probably
just...
find a little area that is... It's the honeymoon suite, so it's not a mini bar. It is a proper bar where you can find fresh fruit, where you can find drink. It is possibly something that you two, Phoebe and Lorenzo, would like to peruse. Maybe Phoebe more than Lorenzo. He's had a tipple, but it strikes you
I'm
that you
full.
are fairly starved and incredibly thirsty. Bastion is not in the room. Well, you can hear where he is, but he's not here yet. You're still carrying the dulcimer. The dog has trotted in and he's lying down next to the bed, where he's out of the way.
I think... Go ahead.
Oh no, you first.
I think Katrijn goes over to the sort of wet bar area, just pours a very tall glass of water with a lot of ice cubes, slowly starts walking back towards the closed bathroom door. And, yeah. Lorenzo, you
Phoebe,
were
is
gonna...
there anything you would like to do?
He's just gonna follow behind at a distance and just go, I don't know that he will be in the best of moods to meet new people.
Oh, he won't mind. Bastion and I go way back. And at this point, she just opens the door without knocking, just walks in. Hello, brother. It has been a while, hasn't it?
Bastion
I knew I
didn't
wasn't
make
going
it-
to like where I found you, but I must say, you have really outdone yourself in terms of the depths you've sunk to this time.
Bastion
Oh, you've
didn't
gotta be
make it
kidding
to... Bastion didn't make it to the toilet. He did the all-star drunk move of he only got as far as the sink. So he's like doubled over the sink, and at the sound of your voice, it's almost as if his horns like move independently. They like prick up, and he tenses like you just poured that cold water right down his spine. And Lorenzo, you can see his hands like grip the edge of the counter, like white knuckle, and push himself up. And he turns around, and Lorenzo, this is like, you've seen Bastion a little fucked up before, but he looks nasty. Like his clothes are all disheveled. He's got pastry crumbs all over, and there's like stains, and his hair's all fucked. And he turns and wipes his mouth. I see I've done it. I've finally outdone myself. I've drank myself into an early grave and gone to hell.
Oh, come now. Surely you can't be so disappointed to see me as all that. I should be congratulating you on your recent marriage to this very short, very large-eared rat, if I'm not mistaken. Your invitation must have gotten lost in the mail.
It's good to see you too, sister. If you don't mind, I'm having a bit of a moment right now. Could you perhaps stay outside the door, and then outside the other door, and then outside the hotel, and then somewhere else entirely?
Oh, I can see that, but, no, you see, I promised these fine people that I would show them around this city and give them the taste of the nicest things that the Shadow Fae have to offer. You know, might be a good change of pace for them.
Oh, you're going to introduce them to all of the xenophobia and all those things you enjoy so much. I see. I can promise you they're not interested, nor am I. So if you'd kindly fuck off.
There's a little bit longer, but you haven't changed, I see. She just goes back and then just, like, lays down on the bed, brushes off some of the pastry crumbs, and starts drinking the ice water.
Lorenzo?
You have all heard this interaction, standing there, possibly a little bit struck, a little bit dumbfounded. I'm going to hand it over to Phoebe first. How do you react to this whole mess that is starting to unfold before you?
I think for a second, I just stand there, kind of take everything in, and then kind of come around the corner. Dulcimer is still slung over my back, I guess, wearing Lorenzo's red cloak. Bastian, are you okay?
Oh, yeah, fine. Perfectly fine. Just Pickle and I got into the drink a bit, and the too many sweet things, so many pastries. I'm fine. I'm sure Pickle's just as worse for wear.
Yeah. Weird night.
Yeah. But it's good to see you again. I'm sorry. Did we give you I hope we didn't give you a scare running off like that.
I mean, it was a little terrifying.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I'll pull the dulcimer. I brought this.
Oh.
You left it before, and I didn't want it to get lost, so I've just kind of been carrying it around all night.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Would you mind, actually, and he hands it back to you, just leave it out there, hanging on the coat rack or something. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Also, sorry about... We didn't know. We just stopped and asked for directions.
And Sir Astra had a sense of humor, as she so often does. I can't say I'm surprised. She has a way of turning up like this when she's least wanted, which is frankly always. Just ignore her. Her words are poison. Just keep away. She's... It's too long to go into now, but suffice to say she's bloody awful, so don't listen to anything she says.
I won't pry, but she brought us here, so one good check mark.
Let's wait and see on that one, Phoebe. She may just be having a spot of fun. She's like that.
I'm gonna get you some water.
I would appreciate that.
And I'm gonna do something about this. I'll be right back.
Bastion leans over the sink and then just reaches a hand up and grabs a towel off the towel rack and tosses it back over his head.
Thanks.
Yeah, it was half hidden behind the cloak, but you have noticed a little bit of blood splatter there.
Should I ask?
Oh, I'm sure we'll tell you later.
Yeah, later would be good. I'll be right out. I think I'm getting to the last of it.
I will go get him some water and see if he'll actually drink it.
Yeah. As Phoebe does that, and Katrijn is lounging on the bed, sort of half listening, half just watching the scene, bemused. Lorenzo standing a little bit awkwardly to the side. Pickle, you have seen a doggo.
Yes. So
What would
Pickle,
you like to do?
I imagine that she has kind of sat down on the floor, kind of looking at said doggo, maybe leaning against the bed because silk and cold and head hurty. So she's going to just be kind of staring, just in a not drunken, but hungover haze, staring at this dog. And just maybe every now and then just, his fur looks so soft.
Oh, yes, it really
Shadows.
is. Would you like to say hello? What do I call you now? Do I call you sister? Do I call you part of the family? Or is this just yet another one of those things that Bastion begins and never is able to quite finish neatly?
Well, I know some people will call each other sisters. We can be sisters. That's fine.
I'd really rather not. And Mrs.
Okay,
Kimura is already our
also fine.
mother, so I guess Pickle will have to do for now. But yes, say hello. It's not very often that
Okay.
you are able to actually get to greet a Shadowhound from the Fae.
I've never heard of a Shadowhound before.
She creeps
Well,
a
that's
little
because
closer.
only very special people can call them up from out of the ether. Takes a long time. A lot of practice, a lot of study, persistence, focus.
The dog looks to you to see if you allow him to creep up to Pickle as well. And then
Yeah.
trots over to you. Standing, he is as big as Pickle almost, and you now see with his movement as well, now that he's walking, those trickles and whispers of smoke.
Pickle reaches out a little tentative hand and does a little head pat. Just,
Oh. He's very soft.
There's a
Yes.
faint sulphurous scent to him. But he's well behaved, very calm.
Pickle's just enthralled. She'll probably just be petting and slowly be making her way, scratching the back, looking at the tail,
Oh, yes, a tail.
scritch.
So you look
Switches.
around this ragtag group of what your brother calls friends, Katrijn. Your brother still hasn't come out of the bathroom.
Are you finished in there yet? I wanted to talk with you alone.
I'm gonna say Phoebe, if Phoebe got him the glass of water, right? Bastion.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bastion pounds it and just slams it down on the counter, and then just kind of gives like a just give me a minute to Phoebe, and he shuts the door and then comes out a minute later, and he has completely done himself back up. Like he looks like he's combed his hair, and he has his jacket back on and buttoned up properly. Has his collar all the way done up, and his necklace, and looks to have fixed his presentation as quickly as he possibly can. And steps out and kind of straightens his tie a bit. And, yes, I told you it would just be a moment. All better.
Yes. You clean up nicely, and we're always good at painting over flaws.
You know, if that dog shits on the rug, you're going to pay for it, right?
That's adorable.
I pride myself on it. I see it still tolerates your presence. How charming.
Yeah, well, you know how it is. They don't necessarily ask for that much in return. However, I was wondering if we could have a little bit of a chat in private, because some things I'd like to discuss with you.
Fine. Not much. Want to step out onto the balcony, then?
The dog can
Fine.
stay inside with Pickle, but Katrijn will go out to the balcony with Bastion and, like, close whatever doors there are so they can't be overheard.
And it is one of those large, almost patio-like balconies with the whole breakfast table overlooking the River Lethe. It's plenty of space for you to have some privacy, not to mention that Pickle is distracted by the doggo, and Phoebe and Lorenzo are probably ready to crash any moment now. Because even with the water from the fountain that cleared your exhaustion, it's been a while since you guys have had sleep. So you step out on the balcony. It's a lovely night with the lights and lanterns lit all across the city and the white marble bridge gleaming.
As Bastion steps out, he turns. As he lets Katrijn go out first, and then as he walks out, he turns to Lorenzo and just says, "If I'm not back in 5 minutes, please send help."
Of course. Take care of yourself.
There's no telling with this one. And he slides the door shut and walks over to the edge of the railing and kind of puts his elbows up on it, puts his head in his hands, and just says, "What do you want, Katrijn?"
Well, before we get started, I'd like you to set my mind at ease that you did not, in fact, get married to a rat.
Her name is
Because
Pickled
truly,
Fish.
that's low even for you.
You really are her daughter, aren't you?
Just as much as you are her son, brother, don't you forget.
No, for your information, I did not marry my friend Pickled Fish, who is a rat folk, not a rat. Thank you kindly, there is a difference. We simply wanted to have a fine room for the night to rest, because we've had a long few days. So no,
Yes.
Your invitation did not get lost in the mail. I assure you, should I ever be married, your invitation will not be lost in the mail. It will simply not be sent at all. Any other pressing inquiries?
And that dulcimer? The one that you loved so much you didn't ever want to let it out of your sight? Being carried around by somebody playing dress-up? in Sarasper's
Excuse
raiments.
I lost it for a time. She found it.
Pity.
Dress up. She's a
I
priestess,
had
you know.
hoped that if we could get that sort of thing away from you, you'd come back to your senses and come home and do what you're supposed to do by the family. I can see I was wrong. Tell me, how long has it been that you've been away, studying, broadening your horizons?
Not nearly long enough. And I promise you that this particular return was not planned. I don't wish to be here right now, and I intend to leave as soon as I possibly can.
Well, that works out conveniently for both of us.
Don't tell me you came all this way to tell me to leave.
No, not to tell you to leave. But a big sister has to keep an eye on her little brother sometimes. Make sure he's not getting himself into too much trouble. Make sure he knows his family misses him and wants him to come home very much. You know how it is.
Oh, come off of it, sis. Don't give me that. They don't want me back, and you know it.
No, just repeating what Mother asked me to say to you.
Oh, I see. Well,
a little.
You always
You're
were a
very
master
easy to
of
find.
parroting. Oh, am I? Is it just my charming glow? What?
No, just looking for the sound of disappointment and despair emanating from every desperate musical venue in what passes for the Shadow Realm in this area.
Don't you have some, I don't know, encyclopedias to be rearranging or something like that, or whatever the hell it is you do?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. But I'm taking some time.
Oh. What, personal crisis?
Personal research, if you will.
Research.
Which is something that I know that it is very difficult for you to wrap your head around the amount of time, focus, and energy it would take to make something like that truly spectacular, but it just so happens that we are very nearing a breakthrough in terms of transportation between the planes. An accomplishment
Bully
which...
for you.
Mm-hmm.
An accomplishment which will earn you others' approval? Try again.
She really does want you to come back, you know. I know you think she hates you. I mean, I know that... Well, you know. We both know how she is. But I think she means it.
Yes, we both know how she is. But you, on the other hand, seem to embrace it for some reason. It's as if you just can't wait to be just like her someday. I've never understood it, and I never will.
It's because you never were particularly good at following the path of the family. There's no shame in wanting to make sure that you live up to the expectations of generations. It doesn't make you special if you just go off by yourself, decide to forge your own path, flying in the face of 100, 200 years of tradition, things that have been tested and tried. I know you'll figure that out eventually.
Don't patronize me, Katrijn. You mean to tell me that this is all you want for yourself? You want to have your nose in a book till the day you die? You want to be able to summon not one, but two, oof, lordy, 3 dog one day? How exciting. Is this really what you want for yourself? You want to just do whatever Marika tells you to do, and you'll be content? I have known you your entire life, you know. Well, save the first 8 months of it.
And you've been trying to catch up on that edge ever since. I don't understand why you're wasting your time.
Are you so arrogant to think that what I've chosen to do with my life has the least bit to do with you? That I'm trying to catch up to you somehow? That I'm trying to surpass you? Katrijn, I can promise you very much, dear sister, you are the furthest thing from my mind. And I would actually prefer if you were the furthest thing from my person as well. But here we are.
Then tell me exactly what is it that you're hoping to accomplish wallowing around Midgard, and when you have finished it, what will you do? You finally be good enough?
You just...
What do you want, Bastion?
Even the way you phrase it, you don't understand and you never have. It's not... There's no goal, Katrijn. There's no end state. There's no... I won't know when I've won the game the way you seem to think this works. That's not it. I just want to see what's out there. There's more to it than just this. There's more than all of this stodgy, cold misery of the Shadow Realm. I know you like to thumb your nose at Midgard. It's a beautiful place. Zobek is... Sure, it's strange, and there's lots of things I've never seen before. I didn't think I'd be dear friends with a rat folk and a Dampier, but that's the sort of thing that can happen in Midgard. There's so much that comes together in Zobek. Here, it's all just cut from the same cloth. It's boring.
But refined.
Refined.
No sharp edges sticking out.
Except the knife behind your back at any given time.
No.
I see. You never were very good with literature. That was a metaphor, sister.
If I remember correctly, how was it that you put it? If one examines the paradigm of consensus, one is faced with a choice. Either accept pretextual theory or conclude that society has intrinsic meaning, but only if your camp is valid. Or did you miss the lesson that day?
I
You'll
read
be
the
playing
damn
the
book.
dulcimer, making music. Something that won't last. I know you want to make your mark in your own way, and I don't understand it, but I understand where the impulse comes from.
Oh, good.
But why not
Never saw
latch
that.
on to something that is going to outlive you? Something that other people can build upon instead of something that is just air.
Is that what you think my music is? You think it's just air? That it has no purpose, that it has no meaning, and that it'll be forgotten. That's what you think of me. That's what you think of my life. That's what you think of what I do. That I'm just shouting into the wind.
I think it's a little bit
Writing
like
on
this
the wall.
place. It is pretty, reasonably good-tempered, and not unpleasant to look at. But will it last? Will it mean something? Will it be remembered?
I have asked absolutely nothing of you your entire life, Katrijn. Nothing. You wish to be a person of substance. Fine. Do it. I'm happy for you, I guess. Do your research, learn your spells, leave your mark on the world. Fine. But leave me alone to let me do it myself. That's the only thing I'm asking of you. The only thing I have ever asked of you. And I don't think I'm asking that much.
The family is never too far away, Bastion. We have our ways of keeping tabs on you. We have our ways of knowing what it is between you and these people that keep you anchored to the university, to Midgard. See the way that you all sit around and talk and laugh with each other, enjoying each other's company.
Yes,
Really, what are they to you? Are they so important that you would forsake the bloodline? You would leave it all behind for this.
I was born with a family, and that family didn't want me. I found a new one, and I intend to keep it.
Brother, we don't love our families because they love us back. We love them because we love them. If we're lucky, we get something nice in return.
Guess I've been unlucky then.
Well,
As have you.
you know the door's always open whenever you're ready to hang all of this foolishness up and come back.
That's the thing with you. You were so close to saying something sweet there. But you just can't resist. So what now? Do we hug or something?
She just sort of rolls her eyes and pushes off the wall that she's been leaning against, walks over towards the balcony and looks out at the city below. How much longer are you planning on knocking around this place?
Not much longer. Actually, if you don't... Can't believe I'm going to do this, but you... Have you ever heard of magics that can... Magics that could just sort of instantly transport folk to the shell realm? We didn't mean to be here. We were just at school, and then all kinds of odd, chaotic things happened, and next thing we knew, we were here on the low roads. You have to speak louder, sis. I can't hear you.
Well, some of them say that life experience is one of the best educations there is, and as much as I would enjoy watching you all try and find your way back to this place that is so precious to you, I might be able to give you a little nudge in the right direction. I'm not as heartless as you think I am.
Okay.
Marishka, your friend, right? One with the mirrors. You could perhaps go see her, but do let me know how much longer it is you think you're going to be in town. And she kind of pulls out of a pouch at her side, teeny little vial, some shimmery memory in it. I'd just like to know how much more of your mess I'm going to have to clean up.
What is that?
Before you're gone. Oh. Remember what I said about learning from experience? It would seem
It
that
was just-
you didn't take that lesson as much to heart as you might like. But don't.
Okay.
I may not understand why you want to spend time with these people, but whatever happens, you're still my brother. I hate for you to be embarrassed in public.
What have you been doing? Are you spying on me?
just keeping tabs. There are so many precious things that you're never far without when you're in Midgard. It's not hard. Anyway, I have a couple of other matters to attend. I'll let you have some time with your friends. Let me know whenever we're ready to meet again tonight, and we can discuss your transportation out of here. Think about what I said, Bastion.
Okay.
You don't have to do this alone.
I'm not alone.
I'll see you tonight.
Fine. Meet for dinner?
You know the place.
I know the place. Very well. We'll talk later, but just... They're good people. Katrijn, you won't believe me or care, I suppose, because you think anything that's not Shadowfae is inferior, but they're fine people. And I love them very much. Maybe that amuses you, but it's the truth.
Well, your
So
sincerity
please.
is not one I doubt often, but we'll see how they clean up tonight. We'll see.
Just go easy on them, will you? I know your folk tongue. Take it all out on me, but leave them alone. Deal?
Goodbye, brother. See you tonight.
Fine. Goodbye, sister.
And Katrijn strides back into the honeymoon suite. The conversation lasted perhaps 20 minutes. How do we find Phoebe Pickled Fish and Lorenzo inside? I'd say Pickled Fish. Are you still with the doggo?
Oh, yes. And she has definitely fallen back asleep, curled up, like maybe a hand like on the dog, or like clutching the dog's paw or something. Like she is curled up against this soft doggo.
And the doggo has put its face, onto your head, shoulder area. There is a constant trickle of shadowy slobber. It's a strange, viscous sort of consistency, but it doesn't leave any marks, and it's not wet and cold or anything. And so, it hasn't really bothered you much. But to everyone else watching, it's like this constant smoke waterfall down onto Pickle. Lorenzo, what have you been doing?
Lorenzo is just gonna kind of be meditating, looking out the window. Chances are he would have waited for capture just because he there's something he wants to get off his chest. It's just
So Lorenzo's...
he'd just kind of be waiting, trying to stay awake and waiting.
You keep a respectful distance to the balcony door, probably standing so you don't completely fall asleep immediately, because that bed is looking very inviting. Has Phoebe fallen asleep, or is she staying up as well before we do that scene?
I think she would... It hasn't been that long, so I think she would still be up, because I think she would have wanted to, like, clean off and then kind of deal with whatever was left of the damage, because I did look at my sheet and realize how much it was from last time. So yeah, I think she's probably still up, having like cleaned up and like kind of tried to get the blood out of her clothes and stuff, and then is kind of in the last stages of like patching everything up.
So you've been sort of in the bathroom where just for the sake of everything, the sink has been somewhat cleaned. It's not a thing where bits and pieces stay behind because, honestly, fuck you, Colin. This is not something I want to deal with, so I'm not gonna deal with it.
Phoebe's not squeamish.
So-
She will like clean out the sink.
Yeah, a little wash with the shower head or whatever. There's no buckets in this universe. There's proper showers. And you can make it all serviceable to patch yourself up, clean yourself up as well. When you hear the balcony door and you hear Lorenzo stepping up to Katrijn to talk to her.
Oh, you're
I'm just
all
gonna-
still here.
Yes.
He really does care about you a lot. It's sweet.
Vice versa, or ditto. I just wanted to tell you before I rest. Anyone would be honored to have pickled fish as a sister. She is the very best of us. I believe that your brother is able to see that. I hope that one day you are as well. He tends to talk about the Shadow Fae as if they are terrible creatures. And I don't see that in him. And I don't see that in you either. You just need help seeing things the way they are. One day you'll be lucky enough to know just how amazing pickled fish is. And he kind of starts to wobble his way back to bed.
I hope you all have some nice formal clothes. We'll be seeing each other again tonight. In the meantime,
Good night.
He tried to stay upright, he tried to stay polite, that rhymes, and he just sits down on the bed, and before you've even left, before you've really had time to click at the dog, who is of course immediately standing up. Pickle, you might be woken up by that a little bit. Lorenzo is on the bed, breathing very, very slowly and deeply. Sign of pure exhaustion. It's a strange bunch. Pickle, would you like to say anything to Katrijn before she leaves?
She'll just kind of, she'll blink the sleep out of her eyes a bit and just,
Oh, it was nice to meet you. And what was the dog's name?
Shim.
Shim.
and she like gives a little face at him and just,
It was nice to meet Shim. I'm going to sleep now. Bye.
Shim licks once half across your face, your little fur sticking up on one side, before he follows his mistress.
and she'll clamber up onto the bed and just pass out.
Sleep tight, don't let the kobolds bite.
And
She
Katrijn is
just
gone.
walks away.
Bastian, you're still standing on the balcony when you can hear the main room door falling shut, and you can consider, guess / hope that your sister has left the room.
The second that closes and it hits Bastion's ears, he gasps like it's the first breath he's taken in 20 minutes. Like the tension drops out of his shoulders and he just... and he's totally rattled as he always is whenever she's around. And he kind of
Phoebe, you step out
composes.
of the bathroom and... Sorry. But
Go ahead.
Phoebe, you step out of the bathroom and see these two sleeping. But you don't see Bastion in the room yet.
I'll step outside to see if he's still out there. Make sure he didn't leave again.
Yeah, Bastion's got his hands on the railing that he was leaning against when he was talking to Katrijn. And he's again kind of like white-knuckled on it, just gripping on it, just... But when he hears like the door open and you come out, he straightens up, turns around and just kind of smiles and... what did she touch? We need to disinfect the room.
Not much. She seemed a little, I don't know, disgusted by the whole situation.
She's disgusted by most things. She's very... Well, she's a very close-minded person.
That's really sad.
It is sad. We were thick as thieves when we were kids. Inseparable. I know
What
she's
happened?
not. She had her path and I had mine, and she didn't respect mine, and I like to say that our relationship is built on trust and understanding. I don't trust her, and she doesn't understand me.
That's funny.
Thanks. I've been working on that one for a while. It's too bad. I think you would have liked her when she was younger. She wasn't always like that. It's a shame.
I can still like her now.
Takes a hell of a lot more effort though, Phoebe.
Well, we're always working on ourselves. Maybe she'll decide she wants to do that too.
She's had plenty of opportunities, but hasn't yet. Who
Well,
knows? Maybe.
She doesn't look that old to me, so...
No, not much older than me, in fact. Quite close in age, within a year. Rembrandt and Marika didn't waste any time at the beginning of their age. Sorry, if you don't mind, she's about the last thing I want to think about right now. How was your night? You know I would never say this of you if I didn't really mean it out of concern, but you looked awful when you came in. Are you all right?
Yeah. Yeah, I am now. We got a little sidetracked, I would say. Mariska showed up while we were looking for you.
I see. And what did she want?
A favor. We went looking for something for her. Smashed some mirrors. You know, may have alerted a couple of guards, got stabbed a couple of times. It's really neither here nor there.
Bastion's like, I'm not hearing this. I heard nothing. Is there going to be law chasing after us, Phoebe?
Oh no. No. No, they're dead.
Oh! Okay.
You're making a
Well-
face like I should not have told you that.
I'm just, that's not good. Phoebe, I don't think I need to tell you that. That's not good.
No. But we had to make a choice, and the choice was them or us. so we made it.
I'm
We
sorry.
should probably
I don't-
head home soon.
We should. Now, especially. Phoebe, it's just that they don't. The Shadow Realm as a whole doesn't take very kindly to outsiders, and if you were caught or if you were captured after committing a crime like that, I shudder to think what would have happened, and what still could happen if anyone's to find out.
Well, as much as you probably don't want to know, that's why I'm telling you. And I'm a little afraid Lorenzo might sugarcoat it, so...
That's interesting. That's not normally his way. I usually can count on Lorenzo for the straight truth. Why would he have to sugarcoat it?
I don't think
Bluntest
it's a
man I
have
know.
to. I don't think it's a have to so much as a want to. You've had a day. And he's worried about you.
Yeah. Suppose me and him are going to have a awkward talk at some point. Not looking forward to that.
It's only awkward if you make it awkward.
It was just rough, you know. I know what happened. I'm not stupid. It's a bard battle. Magic is what it is. Everyone uses it to work the crowd, but was tough seeing it affect Enzo like that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm not angry. It's just difficult, you know. That's all.
Well, I think he'd kill Calvin given the chance, so...
I'm sure he would. And believe it or not, I don't want him to do that, though there were times I was tempted to ask. Unfortunately, it seems our little ritual didn't work.
I'm sorry about that.
It's not your fault. These things happen. I thought Sir Astra was pleased, but yeah. She can be hard to read, that one, as you all know. But thank you for your help. I appreciated it. Just... your support meant a lot going into that battle. Thank you.
Oh. You always have it.
Now, I think I've had just about enough of being miserable. Last few days have been trying. For all of us, apparently. But, I don't wish to wallow in this any longer. Honestly, I can't remember why I was so upset about it in the first place.
That's probably for the best.
There will be other battles. I'll have my chance. For now, I just want to go home. And this isn't home.
And with a last bark of Shim, that's not a mastiff. Asher is not mastiff sized, but we come to an end of the scene and this day, night. It's hard to tell in the Shadow Realm anyway, as you head back into the room and find sleeping arrangements that would be suitable before getting your finally first big rest without having to worry about favors and without having to worry about battles and where someone has run off to. Of course, you all have your own personal worries on your mind. We did have Lorenzo getting a taste of what he could be, after all. In fact, Lorenzo, as you fall asleep on this bed, still legs kind of half dangling across, you didn't even have time to really undress. Strange dreams are plaguing you while you sleep. There's voices you constantly think should be familiar to you, but you cannot, for the life of you, understand what they're saying, who they are. They seem pleading, imploring. They seem to be in great stress. And every time you try and get a little bit closer, they slip away from you.
I'm just going to try and call out, hello, if you need help, I can help you.
Help, help, help. No, 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 no. Not him, not him, not him. Is the only thing you understand. But they
Who?
slip away. It feels like they slip away deeper into something dangerous.
I'm going to just instinctually reach for my axes. It just... I can help you wherever you are. Whoever this is, just point me to them.
You hear the beating of a heart. Agitated, tense, scared. You smell adrenaline and fear. And at first you'd think it's your own. The tension of the dream, the stress of the situation you're in. But then you notice that it smells really nice. Delicious.
I take a deep breath and just kind of try and hold it in to not smell this.
Make me a wisdom save.
Oh boy. First roll of 9. Oh, 9. That's going to be a 9 total.
That smell, that beautiful scent, you have to follow it. And that tunnel you were in, that path you were on, following the voices, that's not your path. You find yourself turning around to follow that scent.
I just need to find whoever is bleeding to help. I'm just going to help.
You stumble out of the darkness into a room familiar to you. What does that room look like, Lorenzo, as you are torn between helping and hunger?
It is going to be a just ridiculously decorated stone room with fine velvet curtains covering the window that block out all sun. Just expensive rugs and fine silk bedding, statues and portraits. There's a portrait of himself on the wall.
A portrait of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you look older, regal. You're just in fine burgundy brocade. Your gaze is proud. But your eyes are hard and red, not blue. On your finger, there is a signet ring. What does that signet ring look like?
It is a V with an S intricately carved in the middle, inlaid with ruby against a black opal stone. So it's black, gold, and red.
The portrait moves ever so slightly. Eyes blinking, looking down on you. Portrait cocks its head, looks you up and down. Disappointing. You hear your own voice. But not lost completely.
I need to wake up. This isn't real, and you aren't real, and I only did what I had to do.
You should never have to do anything. You do what you want. Your nature is to want.
We aren't better than them. Those lessons were wrong. What they tried to make us was wrong. We were freed by the storm. You are wrong. I am not you. I am not you.
You wake up. You wake up and you feel a liquid on your cheek. As you go to brush it away, it's blood.
I'm gonna just drink a little bit of it.
It tastes exactly like the guard.
Only when I must. And he's just gonna try it. He's gonna get out of bed. He can't be in the same area with his friends right now, so he's just probably just gonna go to the other side of the door and just kind of crumple against it and just sit there.
On the balcony or on the in the corridor?
On the balcony. He's going to watch the sunrise, as awful as that is.
Luckily for
We're in the
you, there
shadow
is
phase.
no real
Yeah.
sunrise in the Shadow Realm, but you step over weapons thrown onto the ground, clothes thrown onto the ground. You're careful not to wake up your friends as you sit outside and watch the twilight rise, dawn, or whatever counts for dawn in Coromel, illuminating the city just a little bit warmer. There's never sun down here, but there is warm colors, warm shades. There is cold colors, cold shades. That is how you have at this point noticed night and day could be classified. You watch the lanterns being turned off, for lack of a better word, and the city coming to life. And in fact, you hear your friends' heartbeats while you do. All three of them. You can clearly distinguish their individual hearts beating while you sit and stare and watch the city and try not to hear their hearts beating. Eventually, they all wake up. And a new day has arrived. And you are all somewhat relaxed, somewhat relieved, and quite hungry, as it's breakfast time.
Slightly different appetite from Lorenzo, but yes, quite hungry.
Actually, I'm still kind of full.
Nah, I'm good, thanks.
Don't worry about me, G. I had a big dinner. I'm sorry.
You gotta light it up every once in a while.
When Lorenzo, when he starts to hear, rather, the activity coming inside, he just opens up the balcony door. I'd imagine that you're all rather hungry. I can go and bring you food.
Yeah, quite hungry, actually. I think I lost the complete contents of my stomach before going to bed, so... I wouldn't mind a walkabout if you'd like to get out of the room for a bit.
Oh, you wanted to come with me? Oh, we can do that. That's an yes, we can. That's an option.
Me and Pickle can
Or-
stay here.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be nice, because I still need to wake up, I think.
Well, checkout's not until 1, and I wouldn't want to deprive our dear Pickle of the silk sheets, so...
I
Yeah,
love
that-
these sheets.
We might have to
Alright.
take them.
Can we do that?
I mean,
Yes,
technically.
Pickle. Phoebe, how are you? And he points to where the wound was on you. Are you
I'm
well?
okay. Yeah, I feel much better now that I've slept, so I'm fine.
Alright.
Thanks.
Okay, well, let's get them food, Bastion. Just goes to the door.
So
Bastion's
this point-
kind of like, wait up, I'm not even dressed yet, and like tries to like throw his clothes on really quick.
what would you like to do with that day before you meet your sister for dinner? Is there anything in particular you would like to have, a conversation you would like to have with other party members, with each other? Something you want to do? Do we have a shopping thing episode? Well, is there anything specifically you want to do, or should we move?
I think Lorenzo and Bastion are just going to take a quick jaunt to the produce section again.
The produce section. The return of the produce section. Yeah, I think we're gonna have a scene
Alright.
of us going shopping and stuff, but yeah, the
Yeah,
other two
it's
we'll
just
see.
So we got the two of you. What about Phoebe and Pickled Fish? Are you wanting to have a quick chat in the hotel in the Moody Marlin as well, or are you wanting to explore something perhaps?
Phoebe does also want to tell Pickle just a little bit about what happened the night before, just so she's not sort of on the outs, since Bastion knows a little bit too, so she would feel
Yeah.
bad.
Okay.
Want to say something?
Okay. So we'll do Bastion and Lorenzo first, and then move back over to you. And whenever you're out of the scene, or whenever you think you've done the scene and you've said everything, just bring it to an end and let me know, and we can move on to
Cool,
Katrijn.
cool.
Bastion, Lorenzo, and the produce section.
Yeah.
How is this going? Tell me about it.
Okay, I think like half of the walk is just very awkward. Nobody saying anything to anybody.
Oh yeah,
To each
it's
other.
it's a looking at eat while you walk kind of walk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you break this ice, homie. This is
I'm sorry for cheering for Calvin. I didn't mean to.
I know. He's good. He's very
Not-
good.
Not that good, really, without the magic.
His lyrics are shit. But the magic is. Look, this is what he does. He's not a proper musician. He's not out there trying to make music. He's out there to win bard battles. That's what he does.
Exactly that sort of magic. It's despicable. It's not the sort of thing anyone should do to anyone.
If this was Vihander, I'd be shouting, "Screw it, eyes!" right now. Charm magic? It's not. I mean,
You can insight in D&D, I'm just saying.
yeah, that's true.
Shall we
Yeah, you know
roll in
what?
this game for once?
Shall we roll in this? Yeah, how about that? All right, not my strong suit, but 16.
Oh yeah, that gives it away hard. There's something about the topic of that kind of magic that he is keeping very close to the chest.
I didn't know you had strong opinions on charm magic. You have a bad experience or something?
I'd never been a victim of it before.
Oh, first time. Wait. You've never been a victim of it before. So, but this isn't your first encounter with it?
No, it's not.
I'm sorry, was it someone you cared about or something?
Very glad that you got your dulcimer back.
He kind of... Bastion takes the bait on that a little bit because hearing you say loot, almost he smiles a bit and is like, Yes.
I don't know that I can keep your secret much longer. And I know that I have not been a particularly good friend these days, but...
So... You were charmed. I don't hold it against you. It's...
Well, you should.
No, Enzo, no. It's not that I was angry with any of you. It's just... hard to watch. That's all. It's just... It doesn't matter why it's happening. It doesn't... You can tell me that it's just the magic, and of course it was. It's just the magic. I know. It just doesn't change that it's a difficult thing to see with people you care about. That's all.
Yes, I'm very well aware of that.
And look, I don't think less of you just because you were the only one that fell for it. I know that you're a man of a strong mind, and I don't think it's a weakness, if that's what you're worried about. Right. I know you're tough, though. I know. Look, you're one of the strongest men I know. It's okay.
He puts a hand on your shoulder and he goes, thank you for being understanding. You should talk to Phoebe.
No, I did. Just last night.
Oh.
Oh, you mean...
A proper talk.
Mm-hmm.
Bastion. Phoebe is a very good person. And strong. Loyal. Once just I worry. Where I come from, there aren't whatever it is that me, you, Pickle, Phoebe, that doesn't exist.
Friends? Is friends the word you're looking for, Enzo?
Yes. I come from a place where dominion and name and reputation and power, influence, I just, once you bond once you talk to Phoebe, I just ask that we still go to the produce section. Go to the... Whatever this is what I'm saying.
Are you... Lorenzo, are you asking me if... My word. Lorenzo, you've seen where I come from now. It's... I can't say I've been to your home, but it's not so dissimilar. It's all about who you know here, who you connected with, who your family is. And there's not much room for friendships here either.
Here.
But I'm not your typical Shadow Fae, Enzo. As you well know by now. And I can promise you, if what I think you're asking me is that if I talk to Phoebe and tell her how I feel, will I still be your friend? Is that...
In
I
so
can promise
many
you.
words.
Yes, Enzo. As I say, not your typical Shadow Fae. It's not all about the arranged marriages and the political intrigue and the right family and the right connections. I have my family, Enzo. And it's all of you.
When you
I'm not going to give that up because of a romance.
When you bond with Phoebe,
You keep saying bond, and I'm not sure what you're implying.
a sire master type relationship, I'd imagine.
I don't think that's really what... We really are starting from square one with you, aren't we?
It's not important. It's just listen. I'd imagine it would be very important for you to not have secrets from each other.
Well, yes. That's a cornerstone of any relationship, friendships, romantic, what have you.
So when that day comes, I'm asking you to please still be my friend. When Phoebe tells you everything,
What? What are you talking about?
that I am in the Shadow Fae, and I am asking you a favor. I'm asking you that when Phoebe tells you everything, I am asking you to still be my friend, please.
And he puts his hands on Lorenzo's shoulders. He's like, okay, we're going to try this one more time, my dear boy. I will always be your friend. I don't care what it is that you're so worried about me learning about. You know, I know you're a Dampier, right? I mean, what you do on occasion, it's not a mystery to me. Enzo, whatever it is, and you don't have to tell me, I promise you, I will be your friend.
Thank you.
Oh, one more friendship tip. You don't have to thank me
Yes.
for being your friend.
Once I'm sure that you've read up on Dampiers and our capabilities, then maybe I'll consider that. But until then, thank you.
Are we really just getting produce again, by the way? I could go for something greasy.
Well, I need to stock up on pouches. I woke up extremely hungry.
Oh, okay. I'm sure we can find something for you. But,
Yeah.
look, whatever's on your mind, we're not here much longer. I don't know the next time you'll get to see the Shadow Realm, and much as it bothers me, even being here, I want you to enjoy the time you have left here. So, whatever it is, if there's something you desperately need to get out, it can wait. Let's enjoy ourselves.
Yes, Marishka's given us a way out. I just need to accept.
My sister's offered a way out as well. The devil we know, or the devil we just met?
Your sister's pretty cute.
Don't you dare. You...
He like punches him in the shoulder.
I'm telling you for your own good, don't. That's not a threat from me. I'm saying you won't survive the woman.
I'm teasing. Besides, I'm pretty sure AB. It's not my favorite.
Okay, that is still my... Never mind. I don't want to get into this. Just get some sandwiches or something.
Break down laughing in the middle of the produce section, with several people in the market looking a little bit weirded out and wondering if you are in fact maybe drunk still, maybe drunk already, and moving on and trying not to look too hard because everyone minds their own business in this place. Is there anything specific you want to get? Anything you want to do before we move back to Phoebe and Pickled Fish?
Just
having
my
my
AB. My AB no.
Oh, get your AB.
Stock up on your supplies. Yes, your supplies.
I'm just having my New York upbringing is just telling me that I need to bring back bacon, egg, and cheese bagel sandwiches because that's the only hangover cure that's gonna get anyone out of bed. So I'm looking for the greasiest sandwich I can possibly find to bring back for all of them.
You'll get it. And we will move back to the hotel with Pickled Fish and Phoebe. How are you ladies waking up and spending the morning with the boys gone?
I mean, I'm just gonna keep rolling around in the sheets for as long as I can because they're so soft. So, yeah, Pickle will be taking her time waking up, but yeah, she'll at some point Pickle would probably,
How was your night? What did you do?
Oh man, where do I even start, Pickle? It was a long one.
Oh.
So yeah, I already mentioned this to Bastian, so I feel like it's only fair to mention it to you too. A couple of people are dead. I mean, we didn't know them, so it's okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Why?
I should backtrack a little bit. So, me and Lorenzo did go looking for you and Bastian for a while. And that was rough. And then Mariska showed up. And, you know, favors, all of that. So we went to look for something for her, and then some guards showed up and they tried to kill me, and so they might be dead now.
Oh. Well, I'm glad that you're not dead. So that's good. Huh.
Yeah, sorry. I know that's probably a lot for this early. Well, I mean, probably for any time most people find death to be very disturbing. But I thought you should know.
Okay. Yes, thank you. Who's Marishka?
Oh, she's that that woman that Lorenzo was talking to that wanted a favor from him. Did you see the
Oh.
mirror?
Yes, I saw Lorenzo try to use a mirror, but it didn't work. Is it the same mirror?
Maybe. So there's like a
Okay.
lady in the mirror, but then not in the mirror. I don't know. It's complicated. But he owed her a favor, and we were out looking for you, and, well, Bastian and you, and then she showed up and wanted her favor right then, so... It was kind of weird timing.
Yes. This has been a weird day. 2 days. It's hard to think in time right now. My head still hurts. But I'm glad that you found us. I'm sorry we left so quickly. I just wanted to find Bastian and make sure he was okay after you know what happened, but it sounds like you had just as rough a night as he might have. So
Yeah, can I ask you something?
sure.
How do I phrase it? So I mean, you remember what happened in the bar during the battle, right? It was kind of rough,
Yeah.
and you were chill, and me and Lorenzo were not.
Well, that wasn't your fault though. Pretty sure there was a spell that got cast. But yeah, Bastian seemed pretty broken up about that one. He seems happier now though that we're all back together, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, like, can you just tell me, like, from your perspective, what happened? It's just kind of fuzzy. So I'm just
During
curious.
the song?
Yeah, just kind of during all of it, but yeah.
Well, let's see. Bastian came out, and then the other guy came out, and they were doing their best, and Bastian was playing very beautifully. It was very wonderful, and well, I think, I mean, I felt like something was trying to draw my attention, but I felt like I was okay, but then it seemed like you and Lorenzo both kind of stopped paying attention to Bastian as much. But again, I think that was the spell. I don't think that was your choice to do that. And well, I kind of, I may have kind of cheated a little bit, and I helped tried to help Bastion out, and I made some really pretty effects happen, and I think it went really well. But then then he played the song, and
And she kind of hesitates in a way that you can tell she's kind of struggling to find the right words to say.
The song was really beautiful, don't you think? Did you like it? Did you like the song that he played? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I remember it. Yeah, I did really like it.
Well, that's good.
I was just wondering, because I mentioned it to him yesterday, and he didn't seem bothered.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he's just a lot happier now that we're all back together. So maybe he's feeling better? We did drink a lot of things, and there were some really good pastries. I'm sorry we didn't save you any. They were very good, though. They were so delicious, and yeah. But
As long as you enjoyed them.
I did. I really did. But I know
She kind of fumbles a little bit, immediately changes subjects.
I'm just really glad that we're all back together again. That's good. And maybe we can try to find our way back to Zobek. That would be good.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I guess if he's fine, that's fine. Yeah, we might have something for that.
Oh, that's good. Hey.
I do also have to say, I wasn't kidding about taking the sheets. Like, if you want to take them, I can take them.
Oh. I kinda do want them. They're very soft. But maybe just the pillow? I don't need very many sheets.
I mean, if we're not coming back.
Okay,
They won't miss it.
if you say so.
So you're stealing the
just gonna
sheets?
trust you.
Not all of them.
Like the
Just like
criminals
going for a pillowcase.
just like a couple of pillowcases.
a couple. All right. Speaking
Yeah.
of, Bastian and Lorenzo, please come back because I just remembered something. I'm pretty sure Bastian paid nothing so far other than, you know, just dropping his name to the person at the reception. Or hasn't
Yeah,
even done
well,
that, I don't think. How do you intend? I'm not going to roleplay that because it takes forever and I do want to get Anna back in, but how are you paying for all of this? Because
With
the
the
options you really
breakfast?
have at this point are the name, sending the bill back home, and another memory. Or an item that is sufficiently infused with memory. For the honeymoon suite, your fucking dulcimer would have to probably be it.
Ooh. That's tempting. Bastion, I mean, the plan was to... I'm really tempted to want to pull one over on Katrijn and bill it to her.
Here for it.
I actually don't think he'd do that, though, based on the interaction they had the night before. I think he's not feeling quite that level of petty right now. But when it comes to fucking with his parents, he's always down for fucking with his parents. So, yeah, I think he would try to have it invoiced to, specifically to his dad. He wants to put bill to Rembrandt Kamara down, because his dad is much less likely to lose his damn mind when he finds out about it than his mother is. So he would try to pull that.
Roll me a persuasion for the clerk to phrase the things the way you want them to phrase it, rather than just send, because there would be a honeymoon suite on that. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So I'll see how if it's a high roll. So let's, before you tell me if it's above a 15, you can tell me not just what you put on the invoice, but also how your father reacts to it.
I had a 14.
You still have that autocrit if you want to use it.
And I do, don't I? Thank you, Chaos Chorus. I'll take that. I'll take that dirty, filthy 20.
So, that filthy 20, you were kind of having a very, very short scene change, time change of 2 weeks later when a bill sits at the top of Rembrandt Kamara's desk. Does he notice it? Does he just pay it? Tell me how he receives this.
Because I'm using a crit on this, I'm going to be super kind to my boy here and say that Rembrandt, like, sees that bill, opens it up, clocks pretty quickly what happened here. He knows his son's a bit of a free spirit, and he hastily pays it, and actually, like, hides it and shreds it afterward, like has it destroyed so that his wife will not find it, and totally covers for Bastion on that, doing his son a solid. However, if we were to flash forward another 2 weeks, assuming that Bastion is somewhere safe, there probably would be a strongly worded letter from his dad in the mail, like, don't fucking do that again. But it's like I've covered for you this.
Words. 25 words for a sending spell.
25 words for a sending spell from Rembrandt to me.
Directly spoken into your brain. Can be more than 25 words. I'm not going to, be a bitch about it, but a short message that he could tell you directly.
Congratulations on the marriage. Just kidding. No, I don't think he would know that that's not true. I think it's actually a little bit okay. So it's actually a little more serious. It's saw that you were back home. Wish you had stopped by. Love, Dad.
Is Bastian going to reply to that?
Took care of Bill.
Is Bastian going to reply to that? Doesn't reply. No. Alright. Then we move to the other child of the Kumaras and into a restaurant that Katrijn's picked out for the evening, has sent you little instructions on where to find it, or has at least told you that it is a place that your parents would frequent when they were there. Katrijn, tell us a little bit more about that place, if you want to.
This is the kind of place that doesn't have a sign announcing itself on the outside. You kind of just sort of have to know there is a nondescript door there. It's called the Penumbran. It has been there forever, which for Shadow Fae is a really long time. This place is kind of the institution where people go to seal important business decisions, celebrate major anniversaries, things like that. It's very dark in the interior. It's kind of leaning into that entire Shadow Fae aesthetic kind of thing. There are a couple little like wax candles dripping over mirrors to illuminate the hallways and things like that. And it's got like a mixture of sort of very swanky high top bar tables, but then a couple other sort of like longer ones with these dark velvet tablecloths and things like that. And this is the kind of place where the food and the drinks are legendary and people talk about them for years after they've come. There is a dress code, which she would have, trusted Bastian to tell you all that you need to show up looking decent or else you won't be let in. And it's one of those where there's definitely like the kind of person sitting at the door, just like looking over, making sure that you're presentable before you are able to go in. And I think at the point when you all arrive, you see her kind of just sitting at the head of one of the sort of long dining tables in the main area, just drinking a really dark red liquid out of a crystal goblet of some kind. She's waiting for you.
Can I ask, everybody, how are we done up for the occasion? Because Bastard would have warned you about all this, that you're going to have to look spiffy to get in here. And he didn't say this out loud, but was probably thinking pickle might be a problem. So, because Shadow Fae be dicks like that sometimes. So we're going to have to all be kind of really like up to the nines. So I'm curious how everybody got done up.
So when Bastion has this conversation with the team, Lorenzo just gets up and goes to one of his bags. And like Bastion is worrying, how are we gonna get all done up? How are we getting everybody all set up? And Lorenzo plops onto the table a bunch of noble outfits. Because
oh, you carry those with you?
You never know. I actually do have 3 sets of fine clothing in my bag.
Nice.
It's because of the background.
You're muted, Lydia.
So,
Yes. It's fine, I was just ranting. You have...
So, Lorenzo's actually gonna get dressed in like a form-fitting high collar robe. He's gonna put his hair in a ponytail except for the one strand in the front. And it also has a little cape, not a cloak, but like a cape to go along with it. And then he just kind of gets down on his knees and he's like, "All right, Pickle. We can make something happen here. I've got ideas."
And Pickle
What
is
are you
down
starting
for
happening?
it.
Yeah, he's gonna tear up one of his fine noble outfits and try to make it something that Pickle can rock.
And preemptively,
me-
I will say, real quick, I do have I have soap in my bag and perfume. So she's gonna like scrub down and get nice and clean and perfumed, and she's gonna be adorable and ready for this outfit.
No. So what kind of role is a makeover role?
So
Any suggestions?
looking here, he does have
Bit of performance, perhaps?
I can do performance.
Or some kind of tool role if there's like...
I was
I don't know if
gonna
anyone
be
has-
like sleight of hand for, but
Are you
Sewing,
proficient with a
for-
makeup kit?
A forgery kit, yeah, actually.
Sure, roll that.
In this case, I think that might count.
I can make it work. I'm good with my
Roll that
hands.
forgery kit.
That's not bad. That's 18 total.
Yeah, you good.
You just see
You
him working
good.
real hard, like, all right, okay. All right, Pickle, try this.
And what does it look like? What is the color scheme you're going for?
Okay, well, all of his noble clothing is in his family's color, so it's either going to be some form of black, red, or gold, or some combination thereof. So
And I think this
it's probably
is
okay.
mostly black and gold.
Okay.
It's it was an overcoat that you fashioned into a robe of sorts with a little belt, and some of the jewelry that you would use in terms of, what are they called, cufflinks. You turn them into little accessories for her, and yeah, it looks quite nice and quite well put together. So we've got two who look presentable. You do have another set of robes if anyone wants, or maybe Phoebe wants to use it. She can also do her own thing. I don't know. How would you?
Yeah, well, he's just gonna go to the fine noble set and just whoever wants it, or if you want me to try and make something. I really outdid myself with Pickle here, but I think I can make something happen.
Phoebe.
Phoebe does have one very nice dress that she will wear for this. That she never wears, that she's a little uncomfortable in and doesn't really like wearing because it's not really her style. But
What does
this
it look
seems
like?
like the appropriate occasion. It's a very sort of like flowing, like a very like light material down like floor length, with a nice a nice sort of like deep neckline, but it's this like light, like periwinkle kind of, almost like very light blue, with a little like spark at the end. Yeah, she wears.
And is Bastian wearing something special?
Bastion does have. Normally, he just wears this kind of overcoat over everything. He has this. He's had this blue overcoat forever. It's sort of a signature piece for him. I mean, Katrijn probably would have even clocked it as soon as she saw it, that it's the same fucking jacket he's been wearing forever. But he does have. It is part of a set. He never wears the full set. It is a 3-piece. He does have a waistcoat that goes underneath it, with like a nice pair of trousers. And he does have. Normally, he's just wearing these kind of high traveling boots, but he does have a nice pair of shoes that he only breaks out for, holidays and church, basically. And he would make that work. He kind of knows the dress code around these kind of places, and he kind of knows how to. He knows just the kind of thing they're looking for that would be considered presentable. So he kind of apes to it, and yeah, he looks much more done up than normal. I actually do have a tie around here, but I'm not going to put it on right now. But he has instead of his normal gem underneath it, he puts like a nice like kind of like cravat with like a little frill type thing on, still black to match the color scheme, but and because he knows that it's not really presentable in public, he does take his glove off and just tries to keep the scar in his hand hidden, but he won't go in there wearing a fingerless glove because he knows he would not be allowed in with that. But he looks like he's on his way to prom right now, kind of. Muted, Lydia.
Of course. That is how you see them arrive at the restaurant, Katrijn.
Looking about kind of
you
awkwardly.
see she's, kind of changed from the sort of like dark red and black lace trousers, boots, that sort of thing, into a really long, like floor-length dress with a high neck. And she's sitting there. Oh, well. So you didn't have to stop and ask for directions from any strangers this time. Please sit down.
Bastion sits down.
Well, this is
across from her. Wants to be on the opposite side of the table from her.
this is going to be pleasant.
Yes, I think so. Just tell me what you'd like to eat, and I'll make sure we have the appropriate wine paired.
Oh, that's right. That's the order that you do it in, huh?
Mm-hmm. You remember. How sweet. You've never been here before, right?
No. Mother and father thought I shouldn't come to Cormel. They thought it would fill my head with foolish notions of being a musician. Joke's on them.
Yeah. Well, you're here now. And please, tonight is on me, so enjoy. Now, I do hope that you all haven't gotten into
generosity.
Oh. Yes, of course.
Careful, Lorenzo.
I don't know
it
what
usually comes with strings attached.
No, I don't know what my brother has told you about me. I'm sure it can't all be very good, but the Kumaras look after our own. And Midgardians though you may be, if you are friends of my brother's, then you are my guests tonight. Now, I do hope that you haven't managed to get yourselves into any more messes today. But if you do just kindly do me the favor of letting me know what you've all been up to so that it makes my job easier when it's time to clean up. And then we can discuss the terms of your return to your university.
Begging your pardon, but I believe I may have already secured passage for our return to Midgard.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All above board, I hope. It would be such a shame to have run into you after all this time, only to have you get in trouble and not actually be able to return without embarrassing yourselves.
I make it a point of pride to obey the law.
Well, mirrors are tricky things, especially when it comes to modes of transport. They reflect what is, not what should be. But if you prefer that to taking the Shadow Road, then who am I to stand in your way?
The Shadow Road. You want us to take the Shadow Road?
Yes. All above board.
Okay.
On one condition.
I told you there were strings.
I will conduct you safely back to Midgard, on the condition that Bastian finish his studies within a year, then come home to work with me. This is an independent project. You wouldn't have to answer to the family. This would be you and I creating something that could last, that could stand the test of many spans of our years. You'd still have time to do things that you want to do, make the music that you want to make. She's kind of looking at Phoebe as she's saying this. Even though she is talking addressed to Bastian, she's got this kind of like stare going on Phoebe.
Hmm.
There are some things that I wouldn't want you to leave behind before coming back home. I don't expect you'll understand what I'm talking about, but that's the idea. You can take it or leave it, or take your chances with the mirrors.
Can I ask you a
won't-
question? I don't want to
By
intrude.
all means. No, of course.
Please. Before I say something out of anger, perhaps it's better if you go, Phoebe.
Why is his music secondary to his work?
Because it's selfish. It adds nothing of value to the lives of the people around him, and you would know more than most. Has brought nothing but pain of late. Disappointment, ephemerality. Can offer something that lasts longer than that. Something to fall back on when times are hard. Something to feel sure of.
I've heard this speech before.
Well,
If
not
you
from
think
me,
that's true,
certainly.
then you've... If you think that's true, then you never heard his music. We're all ephemeral. All of us. You, me. No one's ever really gonna last. Why would we not do the things we enjoy while we're here? Just think about it.
Well, thank you, I will.
I dare say I believe she is trying to do something that she cares about. She just doesn't have the courage to be honest about the... If you miss your brother, why not just tell him that you miss him?
That's... not it. That can't be it. You want something else. You always want something else.
Do you remember when we passed our first century, brother? And she pulls off the ring that she's wearing on her index finger. Do you remember all the weight that we carried? Everything that we had put up with, everything we had struggled for. Everything we cried ourselves to sleep over nights. It's finally all going to be worth it. I fought tooth and nail for that, and I'm not letting it go. Not for music, not for friendship. It's all I have. I want to share it with you, but I'm not going to force you. That's a choice you'll have to make of your own free will. Something I know has been difficult for this group as of late.
Bastion's...
Lorenzo
Bastion heard that?
his face
And
a
is, like,
little bit.
biting his fucking lip. And he's just kind of like running his finger along the ring on his middle finger. And he's still a Shadow Fae. He was still raised in this culture and knows not to make a scene. So he is aggressively biting his lip. trying not to yell or say something out of anger, and keeping his head down and hoping that someone will bail him out of this, because he is about to explode on his sister.
You are correct. We have had... and he kind of looks up at Phoebe. I have had a hard time maintaining my free will. That, I believe, is the only cause for me treating your brother unkindly. So what's your excuse?
Surely you of all people know how much of an illusion choice can be. It pulls you in with this idea that you actually have the power to affect the course of a life, that what you do matters, that making people happy is something that's worthwhile. It's not. Clinging to that always comes back to hurt you.
Oh, you are right. The alternative is reality. It is true. But what would we get? What would we live in if we all embraced that truth and didn't work to maintain the illusion? For example, the illusion that this is a civil conversation. We know what this is. This is a negotiation, a bargain. You are trying to... what? Coax your brother into spending sibling time with you because you're lonely? I find that even though my nature would be something that I believe that you are more familiar with, something that you would find more suitable, this illusion makes for... And he's like struggling as he's like remembering the dream. The solution makes for it makes for something that matters because it has to.
What is it that you're always so fond of saying, Bastion? Shadow Fae always lie. Go on then.
Always.
Accept my offer. Prove me wrong. I mean everything that I say. Why else do you think I would have spent so much time and effort tracking down your little regret? Do you think it's because I want to lord that over you? It's because I saw how much her face meant to you in that moment. That shouldn't belong to anyone else. No matter what stands between you or I, the rest of this table, that's yours.
Do you know the worst part of being your brother?
Go on, enlighten me.
It's that I've never doubted, for one moment, that you love me. And I love you too, Katrijn. I don't quite understand why. Maybe it's nostalgia. But the worst part of being your brother is that you love me and that this is the kind of ways that you choose to show it. This keeping tabs This tracking down my regrets out of some perverse notion that you know what's best for me? This is the way you express it. And that's a shame. You are brilliant. Katrijn, you always have been. Smarter than me. Smarter by a shadow of a mile. Yet for all your brilliance, you've never, ever figured out how to simply express yourself. How to simply tell someone you love them. How to simply be there for someone when they need you. No, you have to manipulate. You have to move the pieces around until that person and the relationship between the two of you is exactly what you want it to be. Or else it's never good enough for you. The worst part of being your brother was that I could never be the brother you wanted me to be. Bastion, as he was born, was never good enough for you. You always wanted me to be someone else. Just like Mother.
Not always.
Well, I'm not out to earn your affection, Katrijn. I shouldn't have to. That's really what you're asking me to do. You're asking me to give up who I am so that I can be who you want me to be. So that I can be the brother that you wanted, not the brother that you have. Well, I'm sorry. And when I say I'm sorry, I really mean I'm sorry. But I can't do that. And I'm not interested in trying. And you had no right to track down what I gave away. And you watched it? You saw it, didn't you? You know. It's not fair. In fact, it's cruel. And it's low even for you. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I expected better.
She just takes the goblet of the dark red liquid that she was drinking and drains it silently.
I'm going to say they do that almost in sync.
Well, if you're determined to make your own path harder, I can't stop you. As for finding it difficult to see things the way that they actually are and give freely without strings attached, she'll pull out the vial from her pouch that contains the memory that Bastien sold. And she just sort of looks at it for a second as it shimmers there and hands it to Lorenzo. You're a better man than I, and it seems that, although he doesn't see it, we both try to have his best interests at heart. Maybe you can convince him to deal with this when the time is right. If he won't listen to family, but he should know. And And then she just looks at Phoebe and does not break eye contact.
If you want him to listen to family, then be family. Don't help him for a favor. Don't help him for any sort of manipulation or tricks. Just help. Might be an illusion, but it's the only way that we get to be more than what we are.
If
Just have to
anything is
keep
an
up.
illusion, it's that we know it's best for other people.
That's the worst part of being his sister. Constant insistence that we always lie. We never deal in full truth and transparency with each other. Tell you everything, every word you might not agree with has been honest. I do just want my brother back. But as I said, it has to be of his own choosing. And she stands up, pushes her chair back from the table. The Shadow Road will be open for you if you decide to take it. I've made the arrangements. If, on the other hand, you decide that you know best, and you travel through mirrors, well, you're clever. I'm sure you'll be able to think of a way to get yourself out of any lasting harm. It was very nice to meet all of you. Don't know if our paths will ever cross again, but you've certainly given me a lot to think about. Goodbye, brother.
Wait. He stands to walk out with you, take you to the door. Let me... When they get, just outside, kind of out of sight of everybody else. Are you saying we can take the road, no strings attached?
Yes. You feel so deeply. I've never had what it takes to do that. I know that you despise what I've become. And I know that we weren't always like this with each other. We used to have fun together. But we only are what we've each become because this is what the Kumara bloodline has made us. Now, I can't convince you that that's more important or more valuable than what you have with these people. But I do miss my brother.
I think maybe, Katrijn, you miss the idea of your brother. You don't miss the real man. And I'm sorry. Thank you for your help. I mean that. I do. And I wish I was the brother you wanted, not the one you have. Maybe someday. I doubt it, but you deserved a better brother than the one you got. I'm sorry for that. And I miss you too.
She kind of just looks down at the ground and puts one hand up on his shoulder and just squeezes a little bit for a second.
I still wear it. Every day.
Never take it off.
I'll never take it off. I hope that you'll find friends, too, that you can be happy. You don't seem happy, and I want that for you.
Bastian, I'm not sure if I have that in me anymore. But if one of us has it, it'll be enough for me.
This is the second worst part about being your brother. You go and say things like that, it makes it impossible to hate you. And Bastion just gives her a hug, just a quick bear hug.
She's just very extremely uncomfortable, arms pinned to the sides kind of thing. And then it's just like, okay.
Glad you got to meet them. Glad you got to meet her.
So am I.
Right. Listen, why don't you...
Now you take them back.
Don't go just yet. Stay for dinner. Come on. Put the nastiness behind us for an evening.
Table is in my name after all.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And they head back inside. If not arm in arm, then at least side by side. And you can all feel some conversation has happened that had to happen eventually, after over 100 years. And it's tense at first. things like that don't get solved with one conversation and one hug. But there is a little bit more ease in Katrijn. And every now and then you even see Bastian smiling when his sister says something, when he looks at her. And you spend an evening that is not without its awkward moments, but is pleasant enough to create new memories, valuable memories, and one that will not be traded away anytime soon. Unlike the one Lorenzo has in his pocket. Or in his mind, unshared with the group.
Yeah, he's been fidgeting with it the whole time.
We are going to end this session with Lorenzo's hand in a pocket around the glass vial, with a cordial laughter from Katrijn and really, really good food. Really good wine. And once more, feelings that I didn't fucking expect from this goddamn group that I want to curse about a lot every day, every week. I hope everyone's doing okay in chat. This was a very talk-heavy episode again, because I think that's just who we are as people and roleplayers. But we now have 2 potential ways out of the Shadow Realm, and most likely some more action next time. And some more feels, because look at them. There's no way not to. Anna, how are you feeling? Because you did an amazing job there as a character that was described as so one-sided. No offense, Colin, but you know, she's a bitch, that's pretty much it. And breathing life into that is hard. But you did it so fucking well. Are you okay?
Yes. Yeah, I'm really fucking grateful that you asked me to be on this. It really meant a lot to get to be here and be part of this story that I love and chew scenery with these super talented role players that honestly meant the world. So thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Very different character from the type that I usually play.
So the type you usually play, what are other games that we can find you in, and what's coming up for you?
Yeah, I usually play very comic relief type characters. I do a lot of that over on Encounter Roleplay. I play in the Star Trek Adventures game that happens every Thursday, where I am Valkyris, who is the very earnest but fails a lot science engineer searching for the Sword of Kalis. That's on Thursdays on Encounter Roleplay. And then I also GM a City of Mist game that's called This Rough Magic every Wednesday on the channel Heroes Without Limits. It's very heavily based in Irish folklore and mythology, and all of the players are playing as characters with real life myths and legends living inside of them. So if you're into mythology, if you're into fun like literary references and weird X-Men type stories, definitely go check that out. That's on Heroes Without Limits on Wednesdays. Yeah.
And do pop into the Encounter Roleplay Discord, because the casting call has just been posted, and I am just going to take the liberty of saying that this is the casting call for a game that Anna is going to be involved in next season. So check that out, apply for that if you want to play with this fantastic role player and get to know this fantastic person as well, which you should. Another fantastic person, of course, is our Noir. the Noir Enigma. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right in my fields, but it's a Monday, so that's to be expected. Hi. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch as the Noir Enigma, and SoundCloud, Instagram, and everywhere else as just Noir Enigma. On Mondays, you can catch me here or over on Encounter Roleplay with Dr. RPG. On Wednesday, every other Wednesday, I'm on Last HP Hero with the Curse of Straw game. Fridays, we have Bloody Portrait coming out on Chromatic Chimera, where I get to hang out with this awesome person. There it is. And then on Saturdays, we have Morning Ritual over on Critical Misses, where it's just a talk show with various people in the community. And then, that's it for me. So, yeah, moving on.
In fact,
go on to the next.
Yeah, next.
Anna, you can't ever leave. You're stuck with us now.
Next week is Dr. RPG, isn't it? So if you have any call-ins, possibly any worries, your own adventure, your own character might be having.
Any Collins?
And we have too many call-ins already.
I knew you were gonna do that.
Call-ins for Dr. RPG,
Yes.
which is a sort of advice show, then please post those in the Encounter Discord as well. And this guy here will help you.
Yes, the theme.
What is the theme?
Murder.
Oh. Murder most foul.
Most foul.
All right.
But, that's me.
I'm Draco. How are you doing, and where can we find you?
Hi, I'm doing good. Great episode tonight. So yes, I'm Draku. You can find me on Twitter. I'm Draku, Draku3690 here on Twitch. I'm a variety streamer, so I do a lot of different video games. Been playing a whole lot of Ori and the Will of the Wisps lately, which has been super fun.
Great game.
Yeah, beautiful game. And I will be in a couple of one-shots this week too, on some various channels, so keep an eye out for that. And yeah, that's me. That's my life.
Savvy.
That's me. I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing fine. Phoebe might be doing differently, but she's impossible to read, so no one knows. But I'm doing great.
It's good to know.
You can find me when I'm not here. On Friday afternoons for the next 2 weeks, I think. I'm on twitch.tv/encounter roleplay, running Apocalypse World, and Lydia's there, and it's just getting rowdy. It's just getting really rowdy, is really how I would describe it. And then I would say every other day except for Wednesday, I'm on twitch.tv/game nights. It's game with 2 G's and nights with a K. I play in a lot of games over there. I also run a Monster of the Week game over there, which is really fun. And we have a really fun one-shot tomorrow that I'll plug very quickly. It's tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern time. We're running a one-shot of Overarms, which is a new tabletop RPG that is currently being kickstarted, and it is inspired by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So if you like that kind of thing, come.
No, nobody
hang
tell
out with
Susie.
us.
Nobody tell Susie.
Tell her.
Sorry.
So yeah, we're gonna do one shot of that. It's inspired by mostly JoJo's and also Persona, if you like those games. So come hang out with us for a little bit. We're gonna have anima and just do a lot of drama. That's what I'm doing.
And in tomorrow's direct competition, there is a Colin.
What's up? Yeah, I got to do what I didn't do at the top of the episode and got called out for, which is that I didn't say at the top, I'm so excited to play with Anna, because I was totally in character of hating you, and then you went and did that and made it impossible for me to hate you. Ice. So, I mean, I pitched this character to Lydia weeks ago as like, I just want a bitchy Azula sister, basically. And
I did forward that information. I'm just saying.
That was passed along. But of course, when you take a simple prompt like that and put it in the hands of somebody as talented as Anna, what you end up with is something far better than you could have possibly imagined. And because we're all a bunch of drama queens, way more feels. So many more feels. Oh. And I gotta tell you, right up until the last minute, I didn't know it was gonna happen. I had a whole thing in my head as we were sitting at the table when I was getting close to rage quitting, where I was gonna take this signet ring off and throw it in your face. And I ended up hugging you. So, well done, I guess? That was just fantastic. So, my god. Oh, I'm so glad you played my sister. That was the best casting imaginable for that part, and I'm just so happy about that. It's so good.
She must come back!
I wanted to call into Dr. RPG, personally. She probably killed somebody in her time. So, hi. Colin, at Colin Omicon on Twitter and Discord and all the other places. You can find me here, of course, Monday nights, as you know, you just watched it, but then also tomorrow night. Not often, but tomorrow at the same time here, I'm going to be GMing a special dungeon crawl we're going to be doing here on Kobold Press. I'm calling it One Last Crawl. That actually features Lydia is going to be, over there, Lydia is going to be one of the players in that, along with a super talented cast of great role players drawn from the Chaos Chorus. It's going to be super fun, and it's going to be in support of the Kickstarter that just went live and is now already completely funded, because why not, of Kobold Press's new mega dungeon, the Scarlet Citadel. Let's see. I had it open. They've blown past 50,000. Their goal was 30. They've blown past 50,000, so already fully funded on day one. But in honor of that, we're going to be doing a fun dungeon crawl to hype that up tomorrow, so come hang out with us, 8 o'clock here on Kobold Press. Also, Wednesday nights, I'm on Cult I Am Pilgrim from 6 to 9 on Encounter Roleplay. In theory, we'll see about that. My character's not having a great time right now. Likewise, Friday nights, 9 to midnight on Encounter Roleplay, I'm on, in theory, Wild and Chaotic. But also, my character's not having a great time right now. So I think my schedule just got a lot lighter. We'll see what happens in the near future. That's me. This has been super fun, and thank you one more time to the inimitable Nymeria941, Anna, for being here and doing an absolutely bang-up job as Katrijn.
Yes, that is... I'm so glad it just reminded me that I'm so glad nobody stabbed you this time. Or otherwise try to get rid of you, because that was definitely on the table at some point. So I'm actually happy for once that this is not, it doesn't come in thirds. So thanks, Anna.
If only she were a type O.
I mean, Anna in real life, yes. Katrijn, now we know, is AB.
Jesus Christ, I'm not keeping notes of that. But yeah, I'm Lydia.
Don't worry,
I'm
I got
first
it.
Hermit. God damn it. And I'm going to be in a lot of things this week, starting tomorrow with that beautiful, beautiful dungeon crawl that Colin is going to GM, and I'm worried slightly about payback, but hey. We also have the wrestling one-shot on Wednesday and Encounter Roleplay for our one-shot Wednesdays, which is going to be hilarious. It's powered by the Apocalypse system, and I'm going to play a monster, so think Kane just grunting and mumbling. I don't actually have to do much I don't have to do much talking here, because you just RP the shit out of every fucking scene, and I'm just here crying and reacting. But that's going to be fun. And then Friday, of course, with Diesel Punks, where I just picked up the villain and decided to keep her as a pet. So that's definitely going to end well. All of that and more coming over the next few weeks. And of course, most importantly, back here next week for more feels, for more heartfelt moments. This time, unfortunately, without Anna, who was, of course, a beautiful, beautiful guest today, but we are to be leaving the Shadow Realm, and that's not something Katrijn would be doing, but hey, maybe in the future. We're here to stay for a few more weeks after all. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you so much for checking us out, for telling your friends, for also checking out the Encounter Roleplay Discord, where you can vote on who gets the next autocrit, because we do that every week. So if you want to do that, I'm going to put a straw poll up as soon as this episode goes offline and we've all finished screaming at each other behind the screens. So do join that if you want, and we'll see you again. Goodbye, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.